child stays out all night without calling and comes home in the morning. The door opens. The parent's face tightens. Then the words come out. What were you thinking? Where were you all night without even calling? There are clear standards in those words. The behavior crossed a line, and the parent is not simply letting it pass. That is CP. But after the scolding, the parent turns away and asks one last question. Have you eaten? I made some food. Go eat. That is where NP appears. The parent is angry but still cares for the child. The parent sets a standard but does not leave the child hungry. The parent corrects the direction without ending the relationship. This scene shows CP and NP coming forward together. The love in this combination is not always soft. Sometimes love means stopping someone. Sometimes it means pointing out what was wrong. And sometimes it means staying responsible to the end. The core of this combination is simple. Strength without warmth can make the other person hide. Warmth without standards can make boundaries unclear. But when strength and care work together, the other person may feel the force of the boundary and still have room to grow. The lion catches the mouse after the mouse disturbs his sleep. In that moment, we can see CP. There is hierarchy. There is a boundary. There is a standard. The lion does not simply laugh off what happened, but the lion also does not kill the mouse. He does not use all of his power to crush a smaller, weaker creature. That is where NP appears. The lion has a power, but he does not push it all the way to destruction. He leaves one more chance. Later, when the lion is trapped in a net, the mouse returns. The mouse chews through the ropes and saves him. This ending shows what can happen in a relationship when CP and NP work together. If there had been only strength, the mouse might have remembered nothing but fear. If there had been only warmth, the lion would not have felt fully like a lion. But because strength and protection were both present, the mouse remembers fear and trust. And that trust becomes part of the relationship. Now let's look at the graph. In the top 10% group, CP and NP both rise prominently. The thresholds are CP at 39 points or higher, NP at 41 points or higher. Out of 8,255 people, 188 were in the top 10% for both ego states. That is about 2.28%. When these two ego states stand together at the front, the person tends to use standards and protection at the same time. They do not easily ignore wrongdoing, but they also do not easily abandon the person. They try to correct the situation, they try to take responsibility, they try to rebuild the relationship rather than simply cut it off. The graph also tells us something more. A, FC, AC, and SC are also above the overall average. So this is not simply a structure with large CP and NP values. It is closer to a house with relatively strong power running through the whole system. That is why the person may appear as more than simply strict and warm. Judgment can be quick. Responses can be strong. Responsibility can be strong. Presence can be strong too. This structure can leave a particularly strong impression when the person becomes a leader. This is not simply someone who gives orders. The person may seem to say, follow the standard, and I will take responsibility to the end. People around them may feel frightened or hurt when they are being corrected. But in a crisis, they may also believe that this person will stand with them. Well-tuned CP and NP can leave a memory like this. Frightening but trustworthy. The mouse returning to save the lion connects with this structure. When strong standards and warm protection are both present, the relationship can grow beyond simple obedience. Trust can develop. Let's also look briefly at nonverbal signals. This combination may sometimes appear as vertical lines between the eyebrows together with warmth in the eyes. A strong gaze and a gentle expression may exist on the same face. The hands may alternate between an open palm and a firm pointing gesture. Both feet may face the other person. The back may be straight. The body may lean slightly forward. Together, the signals may communicate, I will receive you. But the standard is clear. Of course, these signals are not grounds for judging a person. They are supporting signals to read alongside the graph, the person's words, and the flow of the interaction. The resources of this structure are clear. The person may have strong self-efficacy and presence. For others, they may become a place of safety. Their standards are clear. Their care can be attentive and detailed. For someone who wants to grow, this person may feel like a dependable teacher. But strong engines always have two sides. The desire to take responsibility for everyone can become too strong. The determination to keep order can become too strong. Then the person may become exhausted. Even rest may start to feel irresponsible. The other person may remain protected, but lose opportunities to grow through their own strength. When protection becomes excessive, the fence can turn into bars. That is the risk of this combination. The same strength that creates safety can also reduce autonomy if it is not tuned carefully. Now let's look at the bottom 10% group. Here, CP and NP are both low. This is closer to a low tendency in the baseline egogram than to temporary helplessness in one moment. In other words, we are looking at the average structure of people whose everyday ability to set standards is weak and whose ability to emotionally hold another person is also weak. Out of 8,255 people, 211 were in the bottom 10% for both CP and NP. That is about 2.56%. The thresholds are CP at 25 points or lower, NP at 27 points or lower. In this structure, the strength to establish order becomes weaker. Even when someone crosses a line, the person may have difficulty stepping in. At the same time, the strength to offer warm care and emotional holding may also be weaker. This can create a strange kind of windless zone in the relationship. People do not argue much, but they do not care for one another closely either. Standards are weak. Warmth is weak too. In real life, this structure can look like this. A child comes home after staying out all night without calling. The parent does not become very angry, but the parent does not ask, "Have you eaten?" either. The parent simply says, "You're home," then turns back to the TV. From the outside, it may look like freedom. There is no interference, but inside the relationship, it may feel closer to neglect. There are no standards. There is no warm confirmation either. The other person may begin to feel nothing I do really matters to them. The low graph also tells us that the reduced energy is not limited to CP and NP. A, FC, AC, and SC are also below the overall average. So the whole system may be operating at lower energy. It is especially important that SC is also low. That can mean the pattern is not only about neglecting others, it may also move toward neglecting oneself. Non-verbal signals may sometimes include a blank expression, unfocused eyes, or a dry gaze. The hands may stay hidden or closed. The body may appear smaller. The feet may point toward the exit rather than toward the relationship. Again, these are not signals for judging a person. They are only supporting clues about how reduced energy may appear through the body. This structure is not without any advantage. The person may interfere less. For someone who values strong independence, that may feel comfortable, but the risks are significant. At important moments, the other person may feel that no one will protect them. In a relationship where even "have you eaten" disappears, it can be difficult to feel like a valued person. Sometimes indifference can hurt more deeply than frightening control. Now let's look at the direction of tuning. For a lion with very high CP and NP, the first step may be to release some tension from the shoulders. The person needs to ask whether the desire to take responsibility for everything is taking away the other person's autonomy. After correcting someone, a bridge of recovery is important. For example, what you did was clearly wrong, but I'm not saying this because I want to abandon you. Eat first, and then we'll talk again. The strength to set standards should not become the strength that closes a relationship. Standards should help restore the relationship. Now let's look at the opposite structure. When both CP and NP are low, tuning can begin with small intervention and small attention. No grand declaration is necessary. Lift your head, make eye contact, ask one question first. Have you eaten? And when necessary, set one short boundary. That's not okay. Standards and warmth do not come back only through major decisions. They begin with small acts of attention. They return through small responsibilities. As you look at this combination, it may help to ask yourself a few questions. When I am worried, do I set standards first? Or do I care for the person first? Does my care help the other person live and grow? Or does it keep them inside my fence? After I correct someone, do I build a bridge of recovery? Or do I leave only the standard behind and close the relationship? On the other hand, have I become too distant? Are both standards and warmth inactive while I simply leave the relationship unattended? What signal is my body sending? Is it expanded protection or contracted neglect? The purpose of these questions is not self-blame. The purpose is observation. And tuning comes after observation. In the end, the nature of this combination is clear. When CP and NP are both active, a person can become a large fence that protects a community. CP sets direction. NP keeps the relationship connected. But when the strength becomes excessive, it can suffocate the other person. And when both energies become too weak, the relationship can drift toward neglect. So the task for someone with high CP and NP is not to rule more strongly. The task is to help others grow safely within the fence and eventually to let them walk forward on their own strength. That is when this combination shines in its best form. Frightening, but trustworthy. Firm, but not breaking the relationship. A person who can correct someone and still ask one final question. Have you eaten? The heart of this combination is contained in that one question.